All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Deontay Wilder has been broken by Tyson Fury and cannot win the rematch, according to up-and-coming star Chris Colbert. But then, legendary Hall of Fame fighter Zab Judah comes in to save the day and give that young man a little bit of experience to feed upon. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, was told about a live stream that was taking place on Instagram with Chris Colbert and Zab Judah. Chris Colbert is an up-and-coming young fighter, terrific fighter, all kind of skilled. If you don't know about him, man, something's wrong with you. If you'd like to see him, go to my Instagram page. I've actually got a Fanon Fantasy Fights up there with him on that, featuring him. Very, very skilled, very elusive, smaller fighter. I do believe he's either New Jersey or New York. Please forgive me for not having that on the top of the dome, but got a lot of respect for him. He was having a conversation with Zab Judah, and they were chopping it up about boxing in the in the general New York area. Very good conversation. But then it broke into a conversation, about Deontay Wilder, and that I had to take note of. Chris Colbert, it sounded like to me, was the one that was kind of like guiding the interview or guiding the conversation. So they started saying, man, who do you think is the best heavyweight in the world or the best fighter in the world? And Tyson Fury was the guy that was named by Chris Colbert. And he said, look, I don't think anybody can beat Tyson Fury. And then the conversation drifted into what was going on in Deontay Wilder's mind. Right before that, though, Zab Judah was like, Chris, I ain't counting Deontay Wilder out, because Deontay Wilder has that thing. He has that thing that if he touches you with it, you're out of there, right? So you can never count out Deontay Wilder. Now Zab Judah was like, yeah, I admit that if you look at the skill sets, yeah, man, Tyson Fury is very, very nice, right? He said he likes the way he comes in, he plays peekaboo, he likes how he feints, he likes his upper body movement, all that type of stuff. Things that, generally speaking, people give credit to Tyson Fury for being able to do, right? Stuff that, even though I definitely believe this cat is a cheater, not just believe he's a cheater, I know he's a cheater, I still would admit, hey, man, the guy does have skills. One of the guys that I really respect on YouTube, BFTB, would call him, man, the best stand-up boxer in the world, right? Now, I think he's also considering that Tyson Fury is so big that ain't nobody littler than heavyweight going to beat him. So consequently, that makes you the best, right? So I don't disagree that Tyson Fury is highly skilled, and neither did or more, stereotypically skilled than Deontay Wilder. But just like Zab Judah said, man, come on, this dude has a windshield wiper for you. You on that, you lay on that shield, whap, he'll get you up off of there, right? And that was proven in the first fight with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, right? With that controversial count that was given by Jack Reese, and the fact that in the first fight, he literally dropped Tyson Fury with dang near every punch that he hit him with, right? So the guy is a legitimate threat. That is the viewpoint of Zab Judah. Now, we can agree and disagree, of the merits of the skill of Tyson Fury versus the talent of Deontay Wilder. That's fine and good. However, when the conversation moved to whether or not Deontay Wilder being broken, I thought that was a situation where, maybe Chris Colbert really hasn't had that experience before of falling down professionally and getting back up, right? Because that's what Zab Judah alerted him to. Zab Judah said, look, man, if Deontay Wilder's anything like me and you, but I really think Zab meant if he's anything like me, that when I lose, it makes me hungrier to prove to people that I'm better, right? So he's like, you just because you hear Deontay Wilder talking about this over here and that over there and, this, that, and the other thing related to Tyson Fury cheating, which, by the way, I believe is a very, very valid, and that if Chris Colbert spent some time looking at those tapes, even though he might not be motivated by them and say, that's just boxing, because sometimes, boxers just do that, that's how they feel, and I can respect that. However, when you say that the guy is broken and he's not coming back, dude, you don't know that about that man, especially when you feel like you've been cheated. If somebody feels like you cheated them and legitimately feels like you cheated them, then why would they feel any less confident in themselves? Anybody can be beaten if they're cheated badly enough. You know what I mean? If if Muhammad Ali was fighting somebody like Andy Ruiz, just put a modern day Muhammad Ali in the ring against Andy Ruiz, right? You would be like, man, Muhammad Ali's gonna whoop the tar out of this dude. However, if you take the padding out of Andy Ruiz's gloves, you put grease all over the bottom of Muhammad Ali's shoes, right? And then you, don't allow Muhammad Ali, give a very, very small ring and do all kind of other stuff. You don't know what could happen. When you put your thumb on the scale of justice so heavy, it will jump like this. And there is a point in time where you're not going to be able to overcome illegal tactics by somebody. But that's my point. What Corey Spinks said is, hey, man, the guy, you don't know the guy's heart. He may go out there, be training, trying to work on everything that didn't go right and get it right. And he said, look, people have done it in the past. When Zab did it, a light bulb went off in my head. I think Zab is talking about Zab because I remember a time when Super Judah, when it was Zab's Super Judah, right? Southpaw, crazy, crazy fast hands, really powerful, right? Highly skilled Zab Super Judah. But then what happened with Zab Super Judah? Super Judah got in the ring with Costa Zoo, and Costa Zoo caught him. And it's famous now, made him do the chicken leg, made him do the chicken dance. He's wobbling all over the place, right? And then Jay Nady, waves off the fight. Very famously, Zab Judah's ticked off at Jay Nady for waving off the fight, right? So Zab Judah could have felt like, look, dude, I could have recovered from that, gotten back into it because I was winning the fight before that. He could have felt like he was shortchanged, right? So then go on with the career of Zab Judah. He then loses again for his second fight. He loses to Corey Spinks, right? Now, Corey Spinks, if you're not familiar with Corey Spinks out of St. Louis, I do believe he's the son of Leon Spinks and the nephew of Michael Spinks. If I messed up the father, nephew, uncle relationship, please forgive me. However, he's a Spinks, and you know what that means. He has had access to incredible wealth of boxing knowledge. And Corey Spinks, although similar to Tyson Fury, did not have the most power in the world. He was a very, very slick fighter that it was very hard to get your hands on. And that's why he held the WBC, the IBF, and the WBA belts all at the same time. And he beat Zab Judah. So what happens with Zab Judah after that? Does he get down on himself and feel like, oh, there's nothing else I can do and all that? No. He fights Corey Spinks again, but the next opportunity he gets, he got it against a guy that beat him in that guy's hometown of St. Louis. And what does Zab Judah do? In a career highlight, in what I consider to be his career highlight, he knocks out Corey Spinks. So Zab Judah's career goes on, and we can talk about the different losses to Mayweather, to Danny Garcia, to Amir Khan, or whatever. However, when it comes to Corey Spinks, Costa Zoo, and getting up from being down and rebuilding yourself, Zab Judah did it. He became, not at 140, but at 147, a 3-belt holder, something we do not have in the welterweight division right now. Anybody that could win all 3 of those belts in a knockout, win against somebody that had beaten him, man, that is something spectacular. So maybe Zab Judah says, hey, man, don't write this guy off that soon, okay? And Chris, you ain't lost yet, right? So what happens if you lose handily to somebody, right? Are you going to go away? No. Did Adrian Brawner go away? No. They keep fighting. They keep pushing forward because they are fighters, and everybody loses in life at a certain point in time. So I loved the conversation. I love the conversation from Chris Colbert. Very intelligent young man, very confident young man, sharp young man. Love Zab Judah's knowledge that he was given to this young man through his, because Zab Judah has been to heights that Chris Colbert has not been to yet. And he's fallen from those heights, and he's gotten back up to those heights. So he has a little something to say about this topic that maybe some other people wouldn't. But anyway, much love in the chat. That's my wife calling me, so I'm going to take that call. Much love to everybody that supports the channel. And with that, I'm out. Peace.